Welcome to Vigorous Health. I'm Coach Steve. Let's talk about the role of recreational drugs in bodybuilding. And just get it out of the way. There's no role of recreational drugs in bodybuilding. Now, I'm not going to preach to you guys because I've done my fair share of recreational drugs in the past. So I'm not going to tell you shouldn't be doing it because I did have a good time. But that was before I decided to take PEDs. You got to look at it this way. Your body has a buffer. Yeah, your body has limited capacity, and you can only take so much at the same time. Now, when you stop dabbling into PEDs, you're asking a lot of your liver, your heart, your kidneys, all the organs get involved. Yeah, because you're not only adding more muscle mass to your frame, which requires more of your heart, your liver, your kidneys, and all the other organs. But by taking some of the PEDs, your liver gets taxed even more, or your heart gets taxed even more. Something like a clenbuterol or stimulants during prep are pretty taxing on the heart. And then when you combine it with stimulant recreational drugs like cocaine, amphetamines, or some of these weird MDMA formulations, MDA, ecstasy crystals, whatever, it all puts pressure on your heart and your central nervous system. So you got to be very careful what you do and what you put in your body, especially combinations of recreational drugs and PEDs, because, when it's too much and you overdose or you break something, it's kind of too late. And you don't want to be that guy that did something to his health, causing you to cycle off PEDs and recreational drugs. And now you're a shadow of your former self. You can't party and you can't train because you broke something through your own doing. So don't be that guy. In my younger years, when I was younger, from 15 to 21, mostly during the time I was in university, I experimented with recreational drugs just like anybody else. And maybe that's because it's so easily available, or during that time it was so easily available in Holland. We had these huge party scenes. The smart shops were still selling mushrooms. If you befriend your smart shop guy, you'll be able to buy LSD as well. At the parties, it was still mostly MDMA tablets, and it didn't transition into the cocaine abuse that it is nowadays, from what I've heard. I don't know, I haven't been to a big festival party in years because I like the gym. That's my social place. So, but back then, when I was younger, in my early or late teens and early 20s, I experimented with all of them. And then there was a period of my life where I slowly transitioned into more serious bodybuilding. And, I had to work and do the consultancy. And then you're like, okay, I'm over it. That was my younger years when I was in university. I'm done. I've experimented. I had fun. But now I'm going to focus on business and work. And then you only find yourself in a place where you have the occasional wine or cigar or, scotch. For business meetings, which I still enjoy doing nowadays. But it's, those moments are spaced far and few between, especially now due to the lockdown. It is what it is. So from 21 to 26, I might have drunk once in a while, once a month, for a business meeting. And then when I was 26, I started going into PEDs and took my bodybuilding to the next level. I'm going to be very open with you guys, and hopefully somebody out there can learn from it. And if you don't learn from it and you think I'm a junkie for even talking about it, the dislike button is right there. And I guess we'll figure out who likes this video and who doesn't. I just want to be open with you guys because, after 36 years on this planet, I've gone through many phases of my life. And right now I'm full-time bodybuilding and contributing to the bodybuilding of other people. But I enjoyed a mad party with 50,000 people, or in somebody's basement in my day. So, but I did it separately. Yeah, there was a phase in my life where I experimented with recreational drugs. I never got addicted. We went from one to the other with adequate time in between to kind of detox. And then when I went into PED use in my late 20s, that phase of my life is over and done. And And I prefer not to combine them because I know that PEDs, steroids and growth hormone, insulin, it's all putting a certain amount of stress on my body, which I try to minimize with health supplementation, doing my blood work, not using exorbitant amounts of PEDs, or the harsher compounds, limiting myself to pharmaceutical grade compounds only. I'm still putting some sort of pressure on my health. And I don't want to worsen that by taking recreational drugs, especially the stimulant ones. Because I feel at this point in my life, it's going to be too much for my body to handle. So if me personally, not you, not anybody else, would want to experiment again with recreational drugs, I would come off all PEDs, all of it. Maybe a hormone replacement, a dose of testosterone, 100 milligrams. 150 milligrams a week. And when everything is cleared out of my system, I'm no longer on Cialis, no longer on growth hormone, no longer on GH, insulin, anything else that could have a synergistic negative effect with recreational drugs, would be willing to take them. But at this point in my life, I'm not really interested because I've done that in the past and I'm kind of over it. That's just part of getting older, I guess. In Holland, you're exposed to weed smoking since you're like 13 years old, because it's legal. And for some of you guys that, like you're living in the States and some of the cities that it's getting legal in now, it sounds like heaven. You're like, oh, I can go to the dispensary and smoke weed all day. But honestly, it's when you're exposed to that from a younger age, I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's not a special drug. It doesn't make you smarter. If anything, chronic weed smoking just makes you lazy. When you're younger and you're exposed to that in your surroundings and, people are smoking weed freely, it's not really a big deal. The allure and the excitement is not there. So, yeah, I smoked weed. But I never really got into it, especially not daily weed smoking because I felt it was always taking away from my productivity. And I see that now, a lot of guys, they need weed to take the edge off. And as a result of that, their prolactin increases. So let's say you're on cycle. This is a nice synergy for you guys. You're on cycle and you're on the trenbolone because you want to get shredded and you're a little bit too moody and then you start smoking weed every day. Trenbolone is a progestogenic steroid, which can increase prolactin levels. And weed can also increase prolactin levels. So you're taking the edge off, and then one day you're like, what the hell is this? And then it's this big. You got prolactogenic gynecomastia induced from the use of trenbolone and weed together. So besides the taking the edge off and feeling a little bit more relaxed at the end of the day, yeah, you might develop gyno. So the combination is you have to do the research and understand that some of these drugs they worsen each other's side effects. Even though you might take the edge off the trenbolone, you might induce gynecomastia through an extra pathway. And with MDMA, man, the blood pressure increases and the stimulatory effect on your brain and your central nervous system. I mean, if you do that during prep, I don't think it's a good combo, If you want to do that before you start taking PEDs like I did. You get that out of your system. And you get your phase of recreational drug use and hugging random strangers, which is fun. I'll admit it was fun. But just, when you get into the zone and you start full-time bodybuilding, there's no place for it. There's no place for it. You just full-time bodybuild. You eat your meals, you do your blood work, you don't miss workouts, you get your health supplementation in order. And if you don't want to party one time, okay, you go off cycle. You detox, you clean out, there's no PEDs in your system anymore. And then if you want to party, go for it. Go for it. But there's no overlap in the negative health ramifications of PEDs and the negative health ramifications of recreational drugs. And I hope that helps somebody out there. Just remember that life is precious and it can be over faster than you think it is. And it could be through your own decision-making process. by doing something stupid. And that's, unfortunate that happens. I've seen it happen recently. That's why I'm making this video. Your body can only take that much. And you might feel invincible, but that invincibility comes with a limiting factor at one point, and you keep pushing it, and then it's over. Yeah, keep that in mind. Make sure you enjoy both sides separately, just separately, spaced with months apart, and do the research and make sure you got everything in place so your health doesn't take a major hit when you took one or the other. Yeah, sorry for preaching, guys, but you have to get it out of my system sometimes. See you guys in the next video.